Yeah, that's probably the biggest issue.
You know, good.
Lot of.
That's quiet.
Three right here, you know.
But we get out of the way before it's wrong.
Codes is up.
I saw it, but I don't remember. I didn't really care. I wasn't thinking about it. You just look at it and play it out.
We get a lot of feedback on
Can you read the thing that Tennessee comptroller had in there? This plane come out and knows you done what was right.
Both. Did he sign it?
Really important.
Oh,
Hold on.
work sessions up there. They're both.
Real long article on it.
That's what we keep telling them.
Yeah.
I mean, that's,
I can't keep up with them.
They're on Nashville about it now.
Nashville. We just decided to play ball.
Yeah, they're ready for you to be over.
Yeah, maybe they'll find it right now.
That's all. No, I didn't mention in that report. They're only Nashville hard and heavy. They're finding it's not good at all.
They're back up to the Southern Citizens and then they're the Kansas.
Everybody's here, but we're lost. We got about one more minute. We'll give you one more minute.
He's playing on cover.
Yeah, I figured it was. I was gonna give you a minute, make sure you got it.
There he is.
Saturday. Work session, not only about what's on the board. I got exactly 6 o'clock, so we'll go ahead and get our meeting open. First thing we'll take a look at is review the minutes. I know you just got them. I don't know if you have time to read them or not. If you need another minute or two, we'll take it.
They were emailing me.
I went over it. I didn't see anything that I thought was different from what we talked about. If anybody has something, Mr. Hart.
Move to approve the minutes.
Motion by Mr. Hart, second by Ms. Jones to approve the minutes as presented. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Thank you. The minutes have been approved. Go to this page right here, your financial report. It doesn't look a great deal different than it did last month on this report, but there again, if you look at CCA sitting up there with almost $5 million, if you take that off to 18, then we're running pretty doggone good. A couple things I will point out down in your general fund, for instance, your county fund 101, it's still showing a pretty healthy amount. 4,180,000. Public schools is showing a very healthy amount, actually 4,589,000. Debt service is still looking very good, but remember on debt service, we haven't paid the bills yet. That will come in, when's that come in, Amy, May, June?
Different months.
Yeah. I turn over to your revenues now, let's take a look at that. First one I want to tell you about the revenues, I went by Cindy Carmen's office this morning, and as of this morning, we've taken in $3,775,544.89. Now, at this same time last year, we'd only taken in about $350,000, even though the states saw fit to reduce core civic by $100,000. We've still taken in considerably more money. Actually, if you look at it, we've taken in almost 62% of our budget, which is very good. So I went down through there, and the only ones I've marked is the ones that I really felt like that you'd be interested in. I will tell you that on mixed drinks, we're just a little bit ahead on revenue on that, so I guess people are drinking more or whatever. Impact adequate facility, it's at 43.66, which is very good for 1/3 of the month. Building permits is at 52.25, which is considerably good for 1/3 of the, month each year. Turn to the next page and we'll continue. If you have any questions on any of them, feel free to ask. I just kind of highlighted the ones that I thought would be interested in looking at. I did highlight the one on 43,370, the jail telephone. I believe the sheriff's doing real good on that one. It's at 49%. I think we budgeted 15 and it's 73.80 now. Investment income, that's at 147.30%. But remember, that's interest that came from the banks. And I know that Miss Cindy renegotiated the amount that we get on that back some time ago. And you'll find another one too in here, same way. If you will, turn on over to the end of financial report or the revenues. 43.73% has already come in, which is really good. Now that $3 million that I talked about, that is dispersed through all the different entities within the county. So 101 didn't get all that money. It gets dispersed out amongst all of them. Look at the expenses down there. Mayor's office is running a little bit ahead, 36.94%. County attorney, he's running a little ahead too. He must have been busy or something.
September was a rough month.
And expenditures on the trustee and clerk's office, they're up just a little, not much, nothing to be excited about. Let's see, top of the page, Chancery Court, it's up a little bit. Drug enforcement's up a little bit. Fire prevention and control, that's up quite a bit. I'd say most of that was because of that truck. Public health down there, it's up. A lot of those agencies like that, when it comes time, they get all their money. And this is Public Health and Welfare Fund. They draw their $9,500, so they won't be getting more. Senior citizens is pretty well right on target. Soil conservation, they've drawn all of theirs, so they're at almost 100%. If you look at the very bottom, which says total expenditures, we had a $7 million budget and we've spent $2.5 million. So we're 35.58%, just a little bit above. But there again, if you go back to these 2 or 3 agencies and draw all they got coming, that's the reason it's over. It'll straighten itself out probably in the next quarter, if not sooner. Urban services, of course, their budget's $430,000. We've actually taken in 196,000, so they're at 45.6%. There again, see, a lot of that tax money went to them too, so just about all these different entities is going to be up as far as money that's been collected because of all the, actually because of 2%. If you stop and look at that 2%, we're taking in, I think I said $3,775,000. What would happen if you hadn't had that 2%? Think about that just a minute. We'd probably be borrowing money before February, wouldn't we, Mayor?
That's
Maybe
what-
quite a bit before February.
I think that's what one of our neighbors was having to do before they went to 2%. I'm not sure what they're doing now, but
Well,
that's some of the counties have had that issue, and that's why I believe the county went with 2% discount again.
I know we had some people that wanted us to turn in that 2% and quit doing it. I can tell you, I've been on the court a long time, and ever since we done 2%, we never had to borrow money. Before then, Dwight, you was way back there, several times we had to borrow money. And what happens, which would you rather do? Give the 2% to the property owners, or give it to the bank? Which does it make more sense to do? I just want to make that point, so make sure you understand that. That 2% is just godsend. It's wonderful. Here we are, one third of the year gone, which is what, 4 months? And we're sitting on over $4 million. And our expenditures are pretty close to where they ought to be, but they're a little bit high because some of these agencies have drawn all of it out that they're supposed to get. They won't get no more. So next month, well, we don't meet next month, January, February, it'll start looking even better, which I think it looks really good right now. Urban services at 45.6, which is really good. On their revenues, they spent a little, no, they're right on line, 32.34, they're right in line. The expenditures, the waste pickup is at 36.6, which is a little over a third. And evidently they had to do some work on the trash truck because they spent $1,474 at 50%. But if you look at the bottom line down there, they've only spent 20%. So when it comes down to their expenses, they're still running way ahead. Instead of 33 and a third, they're at 20, so it's really good. Solid waste, taking in 62% of their entire budget. Kirk and Masters collection was real high, 53.7. I'm not sure what other state revenues is at 37.6. Amy, can you tell us what that is?
I believe it's grant money.
Pardon?
I believe it's grant money.
Okay. So revenues for solid waste is 35.43%, which that's good. At least it's above 33.33. But the good thing about them is the expenditure is 18%. So as long as your expenses are below your revenues, you're doing all right. Ambulance service, they've taken in 62%. That's what they're actually supposed to get, which is $420,945. That's really a good figure. Little discount on property tax, but you don't have that, so you can't eliminate it. Investment income, that's not much. So total revenue that's come into them is 37.77. So there again, they are quite a bit above 33% on revenue. Total expenditures, they're running good there. They're 30.70%. The next one is CCA. We don't know much about that. And they are running behind on their collection. Is that because the state hadn't released their money?
Well, I just got September's payment today.
Okay.
They're running a couple months behind.
County drug, their revenues at 29.52, but their expenses are only 14, actually 15%, so it's not much there to be concerned about. Debt service, look at that all day long, but this early in the quarter, it don't tell you a lot. Current property tax, they've taken in about 62%. Trustees collection is up very good. Clerk masters is up very good. Investment income, that's interest rate now on money that's in the bank that Miss Amy got in there. So interest on debt service, actually revenue on it's at 40.38%. And expenditures are only 23.91%. But as we talked a little bit a while ago, that will change a little bit later in the year, because I know you pay some of it every month, don't you, Amy? But some of the big ones don't come in, but what, twice a year or once a year?
Again, it's dispersed out there different months.
Yeah, but we're running real good in that department. Of course, the education debt service, the total revenue on that, it's sitting really good. It's at 41.46. Evidently, I don't know what that 55,000 was paid on. Well, that's revenue. Is that revenue coming in from the school? Okay, so we've got all of that revenue in from the school. But if you look over our expenditures on debt service in schools, we ain't paid very much. But we will. It's coming. Let's see. I guess the next thing we'll do is take a look at, is there any questions about any of that? Everybody understand it? Okay with it? Really right now, we're sitting in a real good position. County's in good standings. As long as we keep our building inspector writing those permits, we can do better. Well, I guess if that's all you have there, we'll go into, well, it says commission agenda, but I guess there's some things down here that we got to, that's executive. We got some budget amendments we got to deal with. One is that ambulance department that Mr. Beatty wanted a truck. There's a lot of discussion on that last month, but we didn't have the answers. He's here tonight. This $38,000 we talked about last month has come back again at $38,000. If you have any questions, let's get that worked out now. Mr. Walsh?
For a better understanding, the truck that he currently has, what year it is it a half-ton, three-quarter ton? Is it two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, and how many miles are currently on it? And also then I go to the rescue fleet, if it gets transferred down, what's it going to be used for in the rescue fleet, and what are the requirements for that use?
Okay.
So I got like several questions there.
Okay. Mr. Beatty, could you hear that? You want to answer that?
It's a 2017 three-quarter ton,
Two-wheel drive, four-wheel
Four-wheel
drive?
drive.
Four-wheel drive. How many miles are on it?
37 and change.
37,000?
Uh-huh.
Okay. And then, so the four-wheel drive will help for the rescue fleet needing to
Absolutely,
pull?
yeah. It'll be the primary move. It'll haul trailers and different things also, so.
Okay. That's some of the questions I had last time we couldn't answer, so.
Yeah, it's replacing a one-ton, so it's kind of falling in the same.
I think part of the confusion last time was everybody thought it was a new truck and thought it was a two-wheel drive truck. So that answers that question.
Yes.
Any more questions? Mayor,
Is
you
that,
answer.
excuse me,
Hmm?
is that the truck you have or the truck you're replacing it with?
That's what I currently have, is the 17.
That's the current truck.
Yeah, that's going to replace the 86.
Okay. That, the
That's what the 38,000 is
2017,
gonna do, is replace it, right? That's
Right.
one you're getting.
yeah, okay. The truck, the one that's going out of service is a one-ton,
86 model
okay.
Chevrolet.
And how many miles did it have on it?
40 and change.
Okay, and then your truck that you're driving now that you're talking about replacing or passing down is a 2017
Mhm.
three-quarter ton, four-wheel drive with how many miles?
37 and change.
37,000? I want to make sure I get it right in a minute.
Yeah, no problem.
One of the questions we had last month was, I don't know, somebody said that you didn't want a white truck and didn't want decals on it.
Mhm.
We had a big discussion about that, and so I'm gonna bring that back up, guys. Now's the time to put your 2 cents worth in on it. Yes, Mr. Walsh?
I think all government vehicles should be permanently affixed with the Trousdale County Government Service decal, whatever department it's with.
Okay.
It's my opinion on that. I mean, it should not a magnetic one, but one that's permanently affixed to it to identify it as a government vehicle for that specific department.
More comments?
I had asked the mayor, I was, to allude to what you're talking about, did it ever come out of a committee to a full government body vote at any time? It
Not that
didn't,
I'm
did
aware
it?
of,
It
no.
didn't, I didn't think it did. So,
Talk one at a time, please.
at some point, I guess, where should we address that? Should that come out of emergency services? Should it come out of executive, or the steering committee? Where should that topic originate from? Because we're not, I don't think you're talking about just emergency services, you're probably talking about everything.
All Hartsville, Trousdale County government vehicles ought to be affixed permanently with saying what department they're from, whether it be water department or whatever. Unless it's an undercover vehicle for law enforcement, which that would have an exception.
That came out of one committee some time back, but never did get before the court. So I don't think, the mayor couldn't find anything on it, but I remember it came out of a committee. Which one, I don't know.
But it never made it to the full body.
No, it never was voted on.
So the end result is nothing, there's nothing there. I couldn't,
No.
if you decided that's what you wanted to do for every vehicle, you would have to originate in a committee and then move forward again, is where I'm getting at. So where would that originate? Because I'm the same proponent like you are, I think. County pays for it, everybody know what it is.
I guess the question I've got about it, why wouldn't you want it to be with decal? And why would you want it to have a foreign color on it? Because I know you're gonna be going to accidents and all kind of stuff, and you go running in there with a purple truck or whatever it is and nothing on it, they ain't gonna know who you are.
There's plenty of lights, they'll know who I am.
Pardon?
There's plenty of lights on it that they know who I am.
Yeah, when they see you, what about the truck?
What about it?
How they gonna know that it's, what if it's in a neighboring county or maybe across the line somewhere?
So how's that any different? Sumner County's unmarked EMS vehicles coming into this
They're not
county.
marked either?
No,
Well, that's their problem.
they're not white either.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
have a question. What's wrong with the 1986 truck? And, I mean, why are we replacing
It has
it?
no modern safety features. It's three geared, only runs about 40 miles an hour.
Okay.
It's got an electrical problem. Every time we plug a trailer up to it, it blows the fuse and kills all the lights on it.
And is this something that you just realized? I mean, we just had your budget, you didn't have, in your budget that you presented,
Uh-huh.
you didn't have a vehicle in that budget. Why, I mean, did something suddenly tear up on this 1986? That's why you're having to replace it?
Well, we just decided that we could no longer prolong it. We wanted to wait till next year and see if we could get one more year out of it. We got a call in Sumner County last year, and as we responded, we were taking a trailer. We couldn't have the trailer lights on. It was in the middle of the night. We were going to do a
So
mutual
you're,
aid, so we had to haul a trailer with no lights because we couldn't plug it up.
and that was last year that you had that call?
That was this year.
This year? That's the only question I have, is we're this close, why did you not, you knew that vehicle had issues, why haven't you already?
Because the mayor had
taken
asked me not to make any major purchases if I could avoid it, so we were trying to not
Prolong it.
prolong it if we could, but
So your vehicle, the 17 is gonna, that 1986, I'm assuming since it has all these issues, it sits, it's not driven a lot unless you just need it, right?
correct.
So would it not be, to me, it would just make better sense to find a cheaper vehicle. It looks like if you're gonna take a 2017 three-quarter truck and just let it sit, and it may be used only 1 or 2 calls per
It would
year.
be used more now. We avoid using the other one intentionally because
So,
you can't drive it anywhere because it only goes 40 miles an hour and it doesn't have any modern safety features.
So where
It
you-
would be driven more often otherwise.
so it will be this
Yeah, because this
2017.
one have equipment in it that's going to be used for calls, which the other one doesn't now currently because there's nowhere to put anything on it.
And then then the new truck that you're wanting to purchase, you're gonna have to put lights and all of that equipment on it as well, correct? And is that bid that you gave, does that include all of that?
It does.
And have you looked at maybe finding a used older truck to replace the 1986 model? I just, to me, it doesn't seem feasible to replace, and why couldn't you find something cheaper? If you're trying to save money, why not find a cheaper vehicle or a baseline vehicle? Why not buy a plain baseline cheaper vehicle to replace a 1986?
Commissioner Clardy?
We went through this with Parks and Rec last year. They were wanting to buy a used vehicle. You buy a used one, you don't know what you're getting, you don't have any warranty or anything like that on it, so we decided better to go with a newer one, so you get all of that. You get your warranty, and you know what you got and all of this, instead of buying somebody's used.
But Parks and Rec uses their vehicle a lot more often than.
Yeah, they do.
Is it-
They would have all
Doesn't
kinds
use it
of
for emergency
trucks.
responses either, so I mean, there's rarely a life or death situation that
Like
the
how
parks
often?
department's responding to.
How often would this vehicle need to be utilized?
It's whenever
Like you
there's-
said, you don't, you've not used it in the past. You said you've avoided using it, so evidently there's been times that you've needed a vehicle, but you've chosen not to drive it.
Yeah, most people just drive their own personal vehicles instead of driving this one, so it's almost a call a day roughly if you look at our call volume from rescue over the last year. That's an average, about a call a day, so it's.
Ms. Ferguson?
I guess I sit on both committees, so I wear two different hats. So for a second, I'm gonna wear the budget and finance hat, which is, I've heard us say, well, why is it coming to us now after our budget has been set? It's a $38,000 hit, even though the fund in that department does have it. That does raise an eyebrow. I mean, how important is that vehicle to the fleet and moving the other things around? Well, for budget and finance, that might be important, but it would also be very important. I don't think that our emergency services committee really grasped a full understanding of the importance of where the other vehicle would go and how it plays out. I mean, I hear about a 1986 vehicle, and we're talking about a rescue department. Well, rescue departments have to have vehicles that they can depend upon on the time to do a rescue. You know, not one that might just sit there and we try to avoid it. If you're gonna try to avoid it, maybe you don't need it to start with anymore, maybe we just need to salvage it. But that's not necessarily a budget and finance committee, that's more of wearing the hat of the emergency services committee. I would like to, for the moment, if it's not gonna be anything that's just majorly gonna shake up anything, move it back to emergency services and let's have some more discussions and get some of these things ironed out. Because when we, at that point, we can come back to budget and finance, we know all the answers to those things that we're talking about right
Is that
now.
the form of motion?
Yeah, I'd like to make that a motion for now.
That's moving to 38.
That's not doing anything with it.
Talk one at a time now. You through, Ms.
That's
Ferguson?
just making sure, because I think there's some things we still need to hash out, that some other questions have come up since then that really kind of lean back towards that, and that's kind of what I want.
Mr. Gregory was next.
No, I just
You
was
through?
asking.
Ms. Dunn?
Is this gonna, if this is cut back to another month or two back, is this gonna cut us back in on the state bid?
No, I don't believe so. I mean, they'll have to resubmit a new, it's expired already. It's
Okay.
30 days. I don't think they can change pretty much at all.
Okay.
And,
Commissioner Wash?
and just to clarify, that's got all the equipment you need, all the lights, all the radios, everything, there's gonna be no,
No, that's everything.
okay, not like the fire truck where we had to add equipment after we paid the $280,000 for, or whatever it was.
Correct.
Okay.
Is it already on the vehicle map, or is it got to put it
No,
on
it's
there?
the by Saturday.
Commissioner Clardy?
I'd like to ask Mr. Beller a question. On the decals, do you say it should be on there or should not?
I don't have an opinion, right? I'm just very, this is, I'm running through my mind about maybe some employees. I assume every vehicle that is used for county use, period, you want a decal, correct? You know, I wanted to ask Sam about his vehicle, whether he uses personal vehicle or not, and, I mean, see what I'm saying? You gotta have parameters to it, so.
Sam has a county vehicle with a decal on
Okay,
it,
you know.
and everybody else does.
And everyone else does, so, you know, that's, I mean, just, I guess it's whatever the will of the body is. If you want uniformity, that's fine. I can see where it's got advantages and maybe some disadvantages, but I don't think that and the sheriff, as far as the sheriff's concerned, he's got purview over the vehicles under his care, so he's exempted completely from that. Because he can establish his own policy by statute without, as far as how, use of vehicles and that sort of thing.
Mr. Joel?
Seems like most of the questions that have arisen have not really been around the financing or budget part of it. They really need to be answered in Emergency Services Committee. So I would second his motion to send it back to Emergency Services.
Now I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? We'll go forward from there. Anyone else got any more questions? Yes, Ms. Jones?
My only question is that we've determined that the 1986 truck is not a use, should not be used because it's not safe. Is that correct?
Well, that's kind of what I got from what they're saying, yeah.
They avoid using it and all.
But they do use it,
They avoid using it.
but they still use it, they just try not to.
Right, if we have to,
Especially
we have to.
Yeah, if you gotta go, you gotta go.
What we would keep it for would be for snowplow. That's, it's kind of an ideal situation for that. I mean, you don't have to drive
So
that.
you intend to keep your 86 model too?
Yes, the 86 will be relegated to pretty much just a snowplow
Okay.
capability.
In the winter months, we have a snowplow that we put on the front of it. It's heavy enough, it's geared low enough, and in those conditions, we wouldn't drive it over 40 miles per hour anyway, more than likely.
Any more comments, questions, Ms. Jones?
My, that's my question is, so would that be any hindrance on EMS to wait any longer on replacing the truck?
Matt,
At
you
this
want to answer that?
We've waited this long. I mean, I think another couple of months.
So what are you doing now if you're not using the 86 for that?
People are either driving their own vehicles or we're using the other rescue pickup truck that we have.
Okay. Does that answer your question?
It does.
We just don't have anything to really haul the trailer with.
Right. Any other comments? I have a motion and a second to put it back in the hands of Emergency Services. You ready to vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with a no vote? All right, Ms. Secretary, we'll send that back to Emergency Services. I guess it will come up in January because we probably won't meet in December. Yes, Mr.
Now,
Ferguson.
the question I have before, I'm trying to separate two, because we've already done that. What committee would the discussions need to originate in? Maybe I need to ask you some work session, or again, we've had it now. For the idea of enhancing our identification of the county vehicle. Would that come out of employee personnel? Would that come out of
Good.
I think it would need to go to the steering committee and let them decide where it needs to go.
Okay. That sounds good.
Okay. Mr. Walsh.
Well, what authority does the mayor have just to make that a policy from a mayor's standpoint without going to any committees at all?
I think it would need to go back through the committee and come through and a resolution on it and be passed by the court to be official. That's my thought on it. Is that not right?
I agree with Mr. Jewell's suggestion that steering committees where
Yeah.
it was
Go ahead and see where it goes from
first
there.
and,
We
give
can
me an
refer it back to
opportunity.
steering committee then.
Yeah.
That's his purpose.
So you want your motion, who made the
Oh.
motion? You did.
No, I'm fine. I was just asking a question. The motion's already passed. I was just
I
asking a
know.
question.
The other
Hey,
part.
back to the other part.
The other question.
Where would we go with that?
Oh, when you're talking about
We don't have
where
any
we go
opposed to
with
that.
it.
We just do it.
Well, right now, it's going back to emergency services. Is that where you want it to go? That's what your motion was.
What's that?
Goes back.
Oh, yeah, we already passed that.
That's
I was
already
asking the
voted.
question. Yeah.
That's already been voted on.
Yeah, I know that.
I was just asking the other question of, in terms of labeling all the county vehicles, which would expand beyond.
You let them go, put it on the steering
Okay.
I think that's where we ought to go with it, since we already know that it's not, we made that committee a long time ago, remember?
So when does the steering committee meet again? January also?
Well, you don't have a steering committee until the county court approves all the committees. You don't have any committee to approve them other than what you got.
You still got the executive now.
till that.
Yeah, but we all functioning under the old committees. Now, it's in our package for committees to come up for next Monday night. If they're approved then we could have a meeting in January as far as the
You
steering
could have one
committees
in, you could
concerned.
have one in December.
Well, you could, yeah. As far as that goes. Oh, we have two other budget amendments that's been given to me on my, I don't know, I guess you have them. EMS, got a medical refund of $5,109.75. I need to make you aware of that. Budget and finance needs to, the way I read this is money coming back in. Is that correct, or going out?
It's going out.
All right,
Medicare paid
then we
twice on
definitely
patients'
got to pass
claims.
on
We
that.
need to refund the money back.
Right. We had to refund the money back, so we're gonna need a motion to approve that particular 5109.75. Ms. Jones?
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Ms. Jones makes a motion to approve it. Mr. Purdy makes a motion to second it. Now, any discussion in regards to it? No discussion?
I'll do it.
Everybody in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, well, we have a $22,520 fund balance draw from the fire department from 101. The way I read it, we had appropriated 34,000, I think it was. Gotta find where it is. It's in this one. And they're needing more money to make it through the years, the way I read it. Mr. Joel.
I have a question. The fire department pay period is from ends in November,
November to December, or December to November.
December to November. Is there a reason for it not being aligned with the budget,
Good question, I don't know.
Mr. Beaver?
It's historical. That's when it's always ended.
I'm just asking, is there a reason that it's in that time of year? Is it to try to get them paid for Christmas?
Correct. That's the reason.
Okay. I got no problem with that, just wanted to know.
Okay.
Have we ever had to have this big a shortfall? Is this normal, or is this more than normal?
This is more than normal. One, call volume for the year up to date is up. Two, we recruited new firemen during the year, and those firemen are responding in greater numbers to the calls. We have more firemen on each call as an average than we did last year. So we've gone through and had more training events during the year, and firemen are paid for fire calls as well as training events. So you combine a series of those actions, and it produces more dollars needed for fireman pay. We increased monies last year, and we plugged the same dollars into our existing budget. But when we pulled the numbers, we've exceeded those expenditures, and since this is considered in essence a payroll, then we can't move monies around for that purpose. When we're short, we have to request a budget amendment.
How many more members do you have now?
We're
Mark?
+6, Jerry.
+6. Have you had several more calls?
Yes,
You
we're
have
up.
to run it up that much.
Right now, we're up about +12 calls against last year.
Yeah, that's what I read it, but I don't know.
Our
That's true.
And one of the large features is the trainings. Last year we had 15 trainings that were pay events. This year we've had 29 trainings that were pay events.
Okay. Any questions? You've heard the comments.
I just question the $22,000 is a huge increase of a shortfall when our budget was just a couple of months ago. The increase of the firemen didn't happen in the last 90 days, has it?
No,
Hasn't
it's
increased
happened
all-
throughout the year.
Total number of calls you can't do much about. Mutual aid, you're getting a higher percentage, and the trainings have increased, they almost doubled, but that happened throughout the year too. So I guess my point is, it's almost like as if you should have known or would have known all along that this is gonna increase, and so the budget just came across a couple of months ago. I just hate to see a shortfall of that much money. Is this gonna be something that's gonna be reoccurring from this point forward? We're gonna see this kind of increase every year?
Not this year.
The firemen aren't going away.
Not this year, because this pays them through November.
Right.
So this ends, I mean,
Yeah.
From our standpoint, we start a new budgetary pay year December 1.
Mhm.
So that one will be embedded in next year's budget development.
Would you say your training has caused a lot of this rise in money right here, Mark?
Yes, training and call volume.
Well, what about your training for next year? Is it going to increase or stay as it is or less or what?
It probably won't lessen a lot. We have some of these new recruits that will need to go through their 80-hour training. There is training that has to happen annually no matter what. So yeah, training volume will continue to run high.
About like it is?
Right.
I have a question.
Ms. Johnson?
Was some of that training extra probably for back when we were trying to merge everything and cross-train them and everything wasn't, that was probably a lot
It
of
was.
that. So that's probably why there's a lot of
It was
extra
some of the
spending.
training that was identified through those meeting discussions.
Right, where they crossed. So
Fire
that's-
department had not had that
Right.
specific kind of training,
So I
and
would
we
think-
acquired it.
So I think that would be some of that expense by adding, trying to get everybody on the same page.
But is it safe to assume that next time budget comes around, we're gonna see a budget of $56,520 from the fire department next time around? So we don't run into this again in November?
Bill, I can fix it next year.
Okay.
Ms. Jones was next.
The reason for the increase of firefighters for each call,
Pardon me?
the reason for the increase of the number of firefighters for each call.
That's a large increase, yes.
Why? We want-
More of them are responding. When you page out, it's an all call. You never know whether you're gonna get 2 that show up or you're gonna get 13 that show up or 14. These newer recruits are responding to more of the calls. They are available, and that's what you want.
Should you know how many's going to show up?
No.
Or- It seems like that would be.
There's not
Or
much
a
way,
limit.
not much way you
I
can
could read one.
The page out is all call. You call everybody that's wearing a
One
page.
at a
I
time
understand
now.
that, but each call's not, some calls are not going to warrant 13, 14 cars.
I understand that.
But you,
But there's no way to sort them out when they're paged.
but
And there's no way to restrict who goes and who doesn't go.
you could limit the number of people that are on call each time. Everybody doesn't have to be on call at the same time.
I would beg to differ. I would say that they do with the system that we're utilizing. We're utilizing a pager with a single tone. That means when we set it off, everybody gets that tone.
Right, the ones that are not on call could turn the pager off. And then when they get on call, they turn their pager on.
Well, I know back, let me help you there a little bit. Back
I'm just trying to understand.
2 or 3 years ago, Mark wouldn't have hardly anybody come in daytime. Is that not right, Mark?
Correct.
So I guess daytime is when they need them to come. But like you said, I don't think you ever have a way of knowing how many's gonna show. I'll get right to you, Mr. Bookmaster. Gary, you're next.
I'd just like to ask, could we change the way this is paid, do it monthly instead of do it yearly?
Or quarterly.
Well, do something instead of it being hit all at one time at the end of the year, do it. You know how many calls you get a month, pay it that month, be done with it.
I don't know, I guess Mark, you ought to answer that, or speak to it. They're saying, could you do it quarterly, or monthly, or semi-annually, or how?
We can do it as this group directs us to do it.
Right.
I'm doing it based on the historical nature of how it has happened for many years.
Right.
So I had no direction to change that,
Right.
so I was proceeding as historically correct.
As a general rule, in the past, the fire department has turned in money rather than asked for money, practically every year. Am I not right?
Correct.
Commissioner Buckmaster?
I want to say, Commissioner Clarity just addressed what he just spoke of. It, you pay it monthly or quarterly, it still adds up to be the same thing.
No, it's not, you know.
But to address Ms. Jones, we page to a fire call when somebody calls 911, says, I got smoke, I got a fire. Honestly, we don't have to respond to anybody. We can wait for the sheriff's department to get on scene and tell us there's really a fire if that's what this body chooses to do.
That's not what I'm getting at.
We have no clue who's in town at any given time. We don't assign a time frame to people. Quite honestly, if there's a fire, we listened for months how there needed to be 25 or 26 people at a call. Now we're up to averaging something over 10 per call, where we have 13 to a tractor fire yesterday, all of them there within about 7 minutes. I mean, honestly, we wanted the fire department to respond in a particular way, and I've listened to arguments for well over a year, and we've encouraged our group to respond to those requests by this commission. And my point would be, now it's time to pay the piper. You wanted more training, you wanted more mutual aid. Our mutual aids went from 8 to 27. Only 2 out of the county. The rest of them were helping EMS and rescue. Our trainings were in part with EMA, EMS, and rescue. That's what we were asked to do, and that's what we've done.
Mr. Gregory?
I'll make a motion to approve this budget amendment.
Mr. Hart? I have a motion and a second to approve 22,500 and whatever the odd cents is. Discussion, Ms. Jones.
I'd like to clarify, no, as far as I know, no one ever said there need to be 25 people to respond to the fire. If I'm wrong, you can correct me. I'm not saying that there doesn't need to be the training or any of the other stuff that you just mentioned. I'm just saying that there should be a way to be able to tell who is going to show up or who is not. It needs to be some sort of a cohesive plan there, so that you know who's going to show up. Because what if no one shows up? I mean, that could be a very bad situation. And I mean, no one is saying anything about not having the training or the mutual aid. I think that's wonderful. I think everything has improved there, and no one's doubting that. I'm just saying that for cost-effective reasons, I don't think you need to have that many people on call all the time when you don't know if they're going to show up or not.
They don't get paid unless.
We only get paid if we show up.
Right, I know that.
What is your pay per person per diem now, Mark? $30 for a show up?
Right.
What if
Per
your
call or per
pagers?
training.
What if your pagers would hit half of them at a time? So I know where she's coming from, but I don't know how to fix it. But what if your pager only had an A and a B or whatever on it, and you get half of them at one time? If you need them, then you get the other one. Is that a possibility?
That's a possibility.
Well, if you're having that many show up, I don't know. Mayor, I'll get you, and then I'll come back to you, Bo.
Mr. Chairman, I would just say this is probably a discussion better suited for the Emergency Services Committee than the Budget and Finance Committee.
It is, I agree with you.
That's what I was gonna say. We got a motion and a second on the approval of that.
I'm aware of that. I gotta listen to everybody who wants to speak. I'm gonna let you speak, I'm not sure I should have been going down.
If your house is on fire, do you want a full crew or a half crew? the house.
Well, I want a crew in 4 minutes, but I can't
I
get
want a
it.
crew, not a half crew.
Who else?
Well,
has
what
a
happens with the
crew?
calls when only 2 people show up? That's not a full crew, is it?
We don't have that anymore.
Mr. Ferguson,
That's what, was that not what was
They
just
don't want it
said?
more people.
Mr. Ferguson.
The size of this can be mitigated to a certain extent if we were to do it each quarter, because you would see it coming each quarter. So that's not a bad idea. I know historically, it's not happened to us before, and so usually you don't do much about something until something happens to you, right? Unfortunately, some people don't go buy homeowners insurance when the house burns down, because but in this case, if we went to a quarterly type of thing, I think it would help us to mitigate seeing that type of expense all at once.
If it's gonna be extra next year.
But according to the fire chief, and he's right, it is behooved upon the committee to change the format to get them to pay it in a different way.
That's what we're doing.
And that's what we need to do. Well, this is what we're talking about, is just approving of the budget.
Budget right now.
But going forward, we might need to, and does that come from this committee?
I think it ought to come from EMS to start with. Commissioner Buckmaster.
I could actually fix that, the run sheets are on the spreadsheet at the fire hall. I could actually bring an update every single month to whatever committee you want. You don't actually have to pay it, but you can see what's coming. It's a running tally. Every time we make a run, I enter it into this spreadsheet, it adds everything up. I can bring it to you every month. Whatever committee you choose, and you can see it coming, if that would help.
It would, well, it'd be more palatable than percent. I mean, it's gonna come, it's gonna come.
That's fine.
You know,
Commissioner Jones.
I just want to say, I don't want it to be misunderstood by anyone tonight, that I'm not for paying the fire department what they deserve, because that is not what I'm talking about at all. They work, they deserve the money.
Commissioner Arnold.
I'm very proud that they have got all these new people and that they're getting the training and all this. And I think in time, the part about how many come about the pager and all that, I think in time that will work itself out as we get bigger. The county gets bigger and the fire department gets bigger. And maybe electronically I can see that in the future, that this is going to look, it'll come around. It's got to wait. It'll work its way out,
We've got a motion and a second, on this 22,500, whatever it is.
I will.
22,520. I think it's time we need to vote on it. Now we got 10 minutes. We still need to vote on it and be done with it. No more comments. Are we through with it for the time being? We need to be. All in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed to the no vote? Motion approved. All right, we have on our agenda also to discuss the wheel tax. I'm all ears.
When does that run out? I mean,
Pardon?
when does that end, though?
When does it
The
end?
current,
May of 22, May the 5th. What the discussion that came out of executive committee was hoping that we could get this on the ballot next year. But the main thing come out was, where you gonna spend this money? What are you gonna do with it? You can't put it on the ballot, just say, vote for the wheel tax, it ain't gonna work. You got to have it ear tagged for something if you want it to have a chance. Also, we discussed about not putting it on a major election, let it be on a lesser election. Because the homeowners are the ones gonna pass it. Your homeowners, 38% of the people. But think of that high school down there. $9 million or 8.1 with a 10% tag to it. The most we could spend was like $9,000 and about $9,000. Most of that school has been paid for everybody in this county. when they go buy their stickers or their tags, they get a $40 wheel tax. So if we hadn't have done that, and I sat on the commission when it was done, me and Mr. Ferguson and Roy Dice, I believe, is the three that wrote it up. We tagged it for that school to pay it off, and it's paid most of it. Now, the Board of Education did a little extra to it, but they had to pay for that. We didn't pay for that. So what I'm telling you is that wheel tag has saved 38% of the people a lot of money. And even that 38% of the people have to buy wheel tags too. So if you look at it from a theoretical standpoint, that's probably the best tax we got in the county. Everybody pays it. Not just one everybody. If they drive a car in Trailsville County, they're going to have to pay it. Yes, ma'am.
I've heard, talking about if that would happen to vote on for a new jail. In need of, I've heard that, in need of a.
There's been all kind of
larger
rumors out there. I think
But I mean,
somewhere.
that's something that you need to consider, I mean.
Well, sure. Eventually,
we
we're going to have to
need
have one.
Bigger jail, I mean, we're past that. That's one thing you definitely need to.
Any other comments?
You gotta have somewhere to put them, there's just not enough room.
Well, getting it's one thing, but spending's another. I don't know if this needs to go back to another committee or what you want to do with it, but you got to tag this for something that the public will support. Mr. Gregory.
With clarity, I mean, we come up with several ideas, but I think we probably need to hone it down to one, maybe. I don't know if it would pass for 2 or 3 different.
Well, I mean, everybody has to agree to.
Mr. Ferguson, I think you were next.
Anybody been to the government buildings here lately? We're having opinions from the public on what plan you like for a park. Why can't we do that for this? Come up with 2 or 3.
I'll talk about that too.
You know, that might help create public support, because then you find out who likes what the most at the same time. Now they're getting skin in the game as to what to do. Just an idea.
Mr. Walsh.
Why can't we just have the individual committees where it be law enforcement for a jail, whether it be renovating and updating the fire hall, emergency service? Then particular committees come up with a proposal to bring to us so we can look at all the wants of the different committees throughout the county. And then we can make a decision. Pardon me?
Which committee?
Any of them. If the fire department, if the emergency services wants to renovate their fire hall, they come up with a proposal. If sheriff wants a bigger new jail, law enforcement committee. Wherever it comes from, whatever, if Parks and Recreation wants to build a 50,000 seat stadium, then they can come with a proposal.
School board and bleachers.
School board, whoever.
Mr. Beller, I spoke with him 2 or 3 months ago about this situation. He has suggested to have town hall meetings, different times, maybe 1 a month or whatever, and let the people have some input on it. Make our suggestions of what we want to do with it, but let the people speak up with what they want. I think that would be the best way to go with it.
That's a great way to go with it, and the thing about it is we got time to do it.
You got that 6 months.
That's
maybe.
right. Well, you got that much to put it on that referendum, but it could be on another one. Mr. Walsh?
But have the individual committees come with their proposal to these town halls to give some educated information to the public.
What's it gonna cost?
Okay.
The town hall meetings, that way the people can come and they can speak then, because a lot of them come in here, they don't have time to speak. That way they can have all the time they need, and do it that way.
Okay. Who's gonna be in charge of the town hall meetings?
Oh, sir.
I'll make a motion for the mayor to be. So, I mean, that's what
I really think it ought to come from the mayor. That's my thought.
You gonna say no?
Maybe you could just designate a certain day each month, designate a certain day, for like, start in January for like so many months, and a certain day, eat that month and have the meeting, and then
Or quarterly.
kind of for about 3 months and gather your information and data and then put it together.
Well, I need that in form of a motion now before we go any further.
We've talked a lot about wants. Wants are not gonna sell this to the public. need are gonna sell it. If we don't, if we're having this much trouble trying to figure out what we need this for, then we don't need it. I'm sorry.
Well, that's why I said individual committees come with an educated proposal with the information.
Well, I think we need a jail. I don't know what else, I mean,
They know best what's in here.
Anybody else got a comment on it? Mr. Walsh,
If we're done, I make a motion to adjourn.
we ain't done.
Okay, we're not done. He said those are the
We're
last
gonna leave
one.
this blank, or we're gonna, do I get a motion from anybody to allow the mayor to handle this? Mr. Carty,
I'll make a motion for the mayor to set up town hall meetings to discuss all this.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. Any more, discussion on the motion and second?
January.
Come on, guys. Any more discussion? Motion is for the mayor to set up the town hall meetings. Motion and a second. Commissioner,
Yeah, I'd like to add to it. I mean, I'd like to give the mayor some direction, just to, we'll sit down, I mean, talk about what? I mean, well, we might need a steering committee. I don't know what committee's going
All
to.
this stuff, all this stuff. He said all this stuff.
Well, I know, but
That's what I put down.
We've had four, we've had four suggestions. in the
Four,
past.
well, okay, maybe just work on the four.
Just work on the four.
I'll throw in there to, well, I can't make the motion.
What are all for?
Jail, schools, build maybe two new fire halls, one on each end of the county, and county jail.
Schools, is that the stadium?
Yeah.
if you're looking at about, if you're saving the $40, it'd be about $350,000 a year. Is about what you're looking at to spend. Any other comments? If not, I'll hear a motion. I've got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
I have a question.
Too late. All opposed?
Yes, opposed.
Got one opposed, everybody else is ayes. Yes, ma'am, what's your question?
The sales tax.
We're going to that now.
We ain't got that far yet.
On the sales tax, we got 9.25. Many of the counties around, including Macon County, have went to 9.75, which is half a cent more on sales tax. To do that, that too will have to go for a referendum, I believe. There again, you back with the same situation there. The sales tax is your other wheel tax. But I do firmly believe the wheel tax will bring in a lot more money. And we have one other tax we've not thought about, and that's internet online. We don't know what that's gonna bring in. I believe you're gonna start getting funds, is it December?
They said at the TCSA meeting, they think it's either gonna be December or January, is what they told the county mayors.
Right. So we'll know maybe in the next couple of months what we can expect from internet sales coming into Trowser County.
We'll certainly have a handle on it before the next budget cycle.
Yeah, I think we will. I'm thinking we'll just combine the two, wheel tax and sales tax, Mayor. Maybe talk on both of them when we do that. I don't know how else to handle it. Unless you will send wheel tax or the sales tax back to another committee or something.
That's up to the county commission and.
So how did this vote turn out?
The motion for the mayor to hand it passed.
On the wheel tax.
On the wheel tax.
I make a motion to include sales tax with the wheel tax in the town hall meetings.
Second.
A motion second include the wheel tax and the sales tax together. Any opposition or any, I guess I should say, comments?
For discussion.
Not all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion adjourned.
Second.
Second with Ms. Linda Johnson, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I think I got all that.